Conference championship game. Warren Harding survived a scare at Fitch last week. Now the state's top-ranked team can clinch a share of the title with a win tonight.
There's no question that experience has to be good for us. A game like that teaches a team far more than the blowouts that we've had earlier in the season.
Boardman's Evan Beard doesn't have to take a backseat to any of the top backs in the SVC. However, the Spartans feel that they have the right mix to win their 5th straight game this season.
Our strength is in our throwing and in the size of our offensive and defensive lines. We have to win this for the Steel Valley.
It's the speed of Harding versus the strength of Boardman, next on Fox 1762.
The Fox 1762 High School Game of the Week, Boardman at Warren Harding, is brought to you by Columbiana Buick Olds Cadillac, McDonald's, Singular Wireless, and the Associated School Employees Credit Union.
Is right around the corner. You're watching high school football on Fox 1762. Boardman won the coin toss tonight. However, they have deferred, which means Warren Harding will get their hands on the ball first tonight. The Raiders, one of the top teams in the state, and they like to score quickly. And they are a threat every time they get their hands on the ball to take it back the distance. However, Andrew Good, one of the best kickers in the state, and Harding may not get a chance to return this one. Harding averaging 51.5 points a game this season. And they're not going to return the kickoff. It went to Rob Masucci, and he stayed in the end zone. So the Raiders will begin 1st and 10 at their own 20, and that's exactly what we expected out of Andrew Good tonight. So the Raiders will get it first. Here's a look at that offensive backfield, once again headlined by Maurice Clarett. He's headed to Ohio State, and this year he's rushed for nearly 900 yards. And Dave Herron, one of the most underrated fullbacks that you'll see all season long. However, this offense centered around the play of Mikey Phillips. Coach McDaniels likes the decisions that this youngster makes. It was Danny Stella in motion. And Phillips the throw to Stella, but he fires short and the pass is incomplete. Phillips came into the game having thrown for just 237 yards. He's 4th in the conference this year in passing. But the most important things, guys, he has not thrown an interception yet this year.
Yeah, and I think that's key for Harding. And I know Tom McDaniels, in his tradition, likes his quarterbacks to make good decisions. And he's the type of guy that wants you to not go out and really try to win the game yourself and not try to make any foolish mistakes.
Now, those guys on the offensive line will be tested tonight. Neilton Neal, one of the better ones at right guard. 2nd down and 10 now for Warren from their own 20. They'll go to Maurice Clarett. Again, nursing that sore groin, doesn't show it there. 1st down carry, a pickup of just over 10, nearly 11 yards for Clarett. Last week he played only a half of football against Fitch and still ran for 124 yards and a touchdown. The kid can take it the distance anytime he touches the ball. We saw that in week 4 against Ursuline.
1st down and 10. Balls on the 30.
Clarett's longest run of the year, 89 yards. That one good for nearly 11. And the Spartans' defense will be tested all night long. In fact, Boardman's rushing defense ranks 3rd in the conference. They may have to shore that up tonight. Phillips from the shotgun. Trying to get away from the big line. Throws complete and has Clarett. A gain out to around the 43-yard line. A pick of just over 12 and another 1st down for Warren Harding on back-to-back plays. Here's a look at the Spartans' defensive front. Jason Meckling, very good. Mike Villagrana, a big lineman. In fact, he'll go both ways, but Evan Beard, one of the top linebackers we'll see all season.
1st down and 10. Balls on the 43.
It's kind of interesting. Harding comes out in their first 3 plays with 2 pass plays. Obviously, and in 1 running play, and two out of the 3 still went to Clarett. But kind of a different than what I expected from Harding at the beginning.
So a 1st down toss sweep to Maurice Clarett. Evan Beard giving chase. Clarett outruns him into Boardman territory. Finally tripped up by Brian Weiser, but not until he gets inside the 40, close to the 39. And Maurice Clarett again just continues to amaze the people in attendance. Gain of 18 yards on that play. And if he has his average game tonight, he will cross the 1,000-yard rushing mark for the season.
1st down and 10.
Too many more carries like that, he'll have it in the 1st quarter.
He's got 29 yards already on 2 carries. We saw him here against Ursuline. He rushed for 211 yards against the Irish. And the Raiders come in the second best rushing offense in the SVC. 1st and 10, that's Corey Tucker in motion. Give to the fullback Dave Herron. And he plows ahead for a short gain. Jumping back in there, Chris O'Day, one of the linebackers. He'll get a start tonight. Rich Lepore and Tommy Haynes will also help out. Boardman very deep defensively. They will continually flip-flop that defensive line, and they do a lot of substitution. Mike Fittimore, a converted quarterback, and Jay Updegrove, very talented and an overall good player.
Yeah, Evan Beard's going to go both ways. He plays virtually the entire game, but if they rest him, it'll be on offense. They're going to keep him in on defense tonight.
A gain of 2 by Herron, so it is now 2nd down and 8 for the Raiders from the Boardman 37. Toss back to Clarett, who wants to throw. Has a man open. Travis Stanford can't make the catch. And actually, that was number 5, Steve Golden, who was the intended receiver on the play, but the Raiders figured they could cross up the Boardman defense.
Yeah. That's the first time we've seen Maurice Clarett not be able to do something. But it was well disguised, certainly. Just a little bit overthrown. Maybe a little bit too much oomph on that one. A little bit too much adrenaline rushing right now early in the game for Clarett.
I'll tell you what, though, great play call by Tom McDaniel with Boardman being in total man-to-man coverage the whole game, and obviously you're still peeking at Maurice Clarett. Great call.
And we've seen Steve Golden kind of work off of Clarett before with an end around. This time they go through the air a little bit more conventionally, and Mikey Phillips finds his man, Danny Stella, 1st down yardage. Raiders move the sticks with a gain that'll take the ball down to the Spartans' 26-yard line, so a pickup of about 11. And Mikey Phillips is starting to come into his own. Last week, 4 of 7 through the air against Fitch for 54 yards, but he had a huge touchdown pass in that, one of his 3s thrown this season. Here's a look at that again. Phillips with plenty of time. That was the big concern of Harding. Could they keep out that big defensive front of the Spartans? And on that play, I would say yes. The stop made by Jay Updegrove, but not until the 1st down had been reached. Fake to Herron. Phillips will throw again, wide open. Clarett at the 5 makes the catch and gets in. Touchdown Raiders. Maurice Clarett's 17th touchdown this season, his 1st through the air. And for Mikey Phillips, his 4th touchdown pass of the season, and the Raiders again jump out on top quickly.
Well, that was just too easy, guys. I mean, they went down the field very deftly and really only stopped themselves on that option pass.
Right.
This time he's wide open, and they bit on the play fake and sent Clarett deep.
I tell you, great job of scouting by the Harding staff. The series of plays that they ran here again. They let me in on this one before the game that they were going to use the old swinging gate. They saw something in Harding's kick extra point coverage, or Boardman's extra point coverage, that they were going to go for 2 there before the game. But get back to what I was saying. Boardman's in man-to-man defense, and it's really hard when you fake the ball to Clarett or someone else and roll the other way. Those linebackers got to come over and cover him. We saw him; he caught 2 passes already. They're going to make an adjustment there to be able to stop that. But great job of scouting by the Harding staff there.
So the Raiders go out 8-0. You're watching the high school football game of the week on Fox 1762.
On the kick for the Raiders, number 50, Anthony Harris.
So the Raiders come out and work through the Boardman defense very easily tonight. And Warren Harding again, just a machine virtually when they want to be. Last week they were tested against Fitch, but they had the early lead in that one. This kickoff will go into the end zone, and it will be a touchback, and the Spartans will begin at their own 20. So both teams getting great kick coverage, and great job by the guys that are kicking off tonight. And now the Spartans will try their hand at the offensive side of the ball, but they trail 8-0 after Warren Harding moves 80 yards in 7 plays. It was a 25-yard touchdown strike from Mike Phillips to Maurice Clarett. The try for 2 was good as they threw the swing and gate at Boardman, and Prescott Burgess was there to make the reception in the end zone. Zetz will throw, swings his pass complete to Rich Lepore. And quickly tackled on the play by Rob Masucci and Mike Hank, yet it's a gain of 4. Zetz comes into the game, the leading passer in the Steel Valley Conference this year, having thrown for 819 yards. He has 10 touchdown passes. The kid really starting to mature.
Yeah, and I think Boardman coming into this season was going to ride, ride their horse in Evan Beard, and what a plus for them to find Tommy Zetz to come out and be able to perform the way he has this season.
So now the ball on the Spartan 24. Give to Evan Beard, can't get anywhere, tried to bounce it outside, unable to do so. Clayton Davis there to make the stop for the Raiders. No gain on the play. That's a rarity for Evan Beard. However, last week, Maslin Jackson did a great job controlling Evan Beard. They stopped him for just 49 yards on 13 carries. That's a season low for that fine ball player.
And I think most teams coming in, especially coming into this season, if you were to look at the beginning and look at Boardman, defensively, you would have to say, I'm going to shut down Evan Beard and force them to throw the ball. And I think, it's a plus for them, like we talked earlier, for them to be able to have the type of passing game that they do.
Second down goes to third down after no gain on the run. Now they throw complete to Updegrove. He's trying to get to the 30 and won't get there. The Raiders pursue very quickly defensively. Rob Masucci and Mike Phillips there to stop Updegrove short of the first down marker. And now the Spartans will punt for the first time tonight. And I thought Updegrove had the yardage and the room to get that first down. Watch it again. There's no one there when he makes the catch.
Yeah, great job on the short bubble screen inside to Updegrove. And again, it looked like he had the entire sidelines, but he ended up gaining 4 yards with the quickness of Harding's defense.
Robbie Palma to punt. He's averaging nearly 35 yards a kick this season. He'll kick it away from Maurice Clarett and gets the benefit of a great roll. And these Spartan fans aren't happy. That ball looked like it may have stayed inbounds. The official ruled that it went out of bounds at the 37, so that's where the Raiders will start offensively, 1st and 10. But that looked like it may have bounced back inside, and the official already had made up his mind that it was going out of bounds.
Well, I talked to Gary Smith before the game, and I asked him point blank, are you going to punt to Clarett? And he looked at me like I just asked him it was the stupidest question of the night. He just looked at me and winked and smiled and said, no.
Smart move. So the Raiders will get field position to begin this drive a little bit better than they had in their opening possession when they began at the 20. This time they'll start at the 37. Toss sweep to Maurice Clarett. Runs around Evan Beard again. He's loose. Clarett may go. It's a foot race. Fittimore's the last guy to get him, and he won't touch him. Touchdown, Warren Harding. Maurice Clarett does it again. It's his second touchdown of the night, and it's his first on the ground. And for Clarett, it's his 13th rushing touchdown of the season.
Hey, haven't we seen this before?
I think we have. Well, what a great run here, and a good job again, a nice play call. Boardman's got 9 guys within 6 yards of the ball, and they're just going to rely on his speed and ability. A simple little toss play, and he breaks one tackle. It's over.
And it goes for 63 yards. Is there anyone in the state better than Maurice Clarett when he's healthy?
Well, if there is, I'd love to see him. I tell you right now, because I don't see it.
Well, Mike Hank on for the extra point attempt. The Raiders converted for 2 last time. This time, Hank pokes it through for 1. And Warren Harding has upped the ante to 15-0 over Boardman. Just like against Ursuline, the Raiders strike quickly. You're watching the game of the week on Fox 1762. Carries 92 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Would you say he needed to break 1,000 there?
He needs 123.
I think you were right, Rob. He might do it in the first quarter.
That's right.
He looks awfully slow tonight with that injury, too.
Yeah, exactly. Jeez. This time, the kick will stay in bounds, and Jay Updegrove goes to his knee, sliding down at around the 9. So the Spartans now in a big hole, down by 2 scores, and they'll begin this drive inside their own 10.
Well, it just seems that we saw the same thing against Ursuline in the Ursuline game for Warren Harding. They get on top early, and the other team kind of panics a little bit, and we're kind of seeing that already out of Boardman. They realize, well, we can't get in the hole against this team, and then they look up, and there's 5 minutes gone in the game, and they're down 15-0.
We've got 7:17 to go in the first quarter. Harding leads by 2 touchdowns. Boardman's first possession of the night went 3 and out. They can ill afford to do that again. Now they run from a stacked eye. Nowhere to run. Brad Beck, who's starting to come into his own and spell Evan Beard in the backfield, met rudely and quickly. And if there's anything that this team is that I'm impressed with, it's that Raider defense. Look at that play knifing through.
Yeah, LeVar Allen there on a little stun up front, and I think that was one of the concerns of the Raiders staff coming into this game was the size of the offensive line. And I know Coach Doda, the defensive coordinator, planned on moving those guys around a little bit more this week than he has in past weeks to give them a little bit of advantage to use their quickness.
The Raiders have the best defense in the Steel Valley Conference. They're giving up just under 39 yards a game on the ground, and Beck found that out the hard way. Now the shuffle pass to Evan Beard, and he'll be dragged down by Prescott Burgess, one of the best tacklers in the state. So on 2 plays, Boardman has now lost 1 yard, and they're back at their own 8-yard line.
Well, here's the thing, guys. I mean, there's so much speed, and they know it. They can sit back and let the play develop, and then just count on that speed to cover up any deficiencies or come up and make the play. And we saw that on the first pass in their first possession. The exact same thing. They let the play develop, see where it's going, and then they just attack to the ball.
3rd and 11 now for the Spartans from their own 8. 0 for 1 tonight on 3rd down conversion attempts. Zetz is going to throw. Fires too tall. Pass intended for Josh Suzanne. He had a huge catch last week against Massillon Jackson, unable to pull that one down. And for the second straight time, Boardman goes 3 and out. And that means that Robbie Palmer will have to come in to punt from his own end zone. So the Raiders are going to get great field position here. And if you'd like to order a copy of tonight's game on VHS, all you have to do is call the station at 330-782-1144 or log on to our websites. It'll cost you $39.95. And Palma's punt almost blocked. It will stay away from Clarett if you want to look at anything as a positive out of that for Boardman. But the Raiders now will begin 1st and 10, and Warren Harding will have the ball right around the Spartans' 30.
Yeah, Boardman comes in and goes 2 3 and outs in a row, and obviously that's going to hurt them if they can continue to do that tonight. But I think Boardman has to go to the pass game a little bit. In Harding's defense, they're going to give you some things up front with the way they play a 4-3 defense, and I think it'd be important for Boardman to come out and reevaluate their game plan a little bit and try to attack the flats.
This possession will start at the Spartans' 33, and now in at quarterback Mike Cokel. He'll throw and fire it complete to Clarett. No one along the far sideline, and Clarett will get in easily. Touchdown Raiders.
It's unfair.
This is just an absolute show. We've now seen the Raiders twice. We've seen Clarett do this twice. 7 opponents have seen him do this. And really, what does this say about Fitch and what they were able to do last week?
Yeah, absolutely. I had a chance to talk to the Fitch guys a little bit before the game here, and and like you said, Rob, you let Harding get on top, and what Fitch did last week was they came back and smacked them right in the mouth, and they said, hey, we're going to be here for all night, and they hung with them the whole game.
Yeah, because the Falcons fell behind 7-0 and come right back and fell behind again 13-7 or 14-7 and pulled within a point there. Extra point attempt by Mike Hank is good. And now with just under 5.5 minutes to go in the first quarter, it is Warren Harding 22, Boardman nothing. It was a 33-yard touchdown pass from Mike Cokel to Maurice Clarett. Clarett has now scored 3 times, twice through the air, and for Cokel, that's his 5th touchdown pass of the season. That might be the easiest touchdown pass he's thrown all year.
Yeah, and really, that was a nice play by Warren Harding and all, but really I think a sophomore mistake by Joe Michael of Boardman. He was late getting over to cover Clarett. I don't want to lay all the blame on him. There might have been a mix-up in the secondary too. But obviously he was wide open, and one-on-one, Clarett's going to beat every defensive back in the state. We've seen that for 5 quarters now.
Boy, and you know what makes it even tougher is that only 2 teams all year have scored on Warren Harding, and Ursuline did it late in the game when they were down and out. And the only other team to score was Fitch last week, and that game was the only one that really mattered because the Raiders were tied at 7, up 14-13. So, it's not very easy to come back on the Raider defense.
That might have been exactly what Warren needed. They needed somebody to come back and smack them in the mouth a little bit and say, hey, you guys maybe aren't as good as you think you are, and you still got to continue to keep working each week to get better.
Anthony Harris to kick off. Again, it goes to Jay Updegrove. This time he keeps his footing, trying to outrun the Raiders. He'll take it back over the 20 out to around the 23-yard line, and that's where the Spartans will begin first down and 10. And Ron, that's exactly what Coach McDaniels told me yesterday when I talked to him. He says, in hindsight, yeah, that's exactly what we needed. We needed a game where we were pressed, had to deal with some adversity. That was without Maurice Clarett in the first 2 quarters, and they responded quite nicely. So I think he said it's a game that we learned more from than any of the blowouts that we had experienced in the first 6 weeks.
Right. Yeah, he's also ordered everybody on the team to get pulled muscles, because if they all play like Clarett with a pulled muscle.
Jeez. First and 10 now for the Spartans. They may have to go to the air exclusively here. Well, forget that. Evan Beard, they'll stay with their game plan. Good run as he hops over the 25 out to the 27. Gain of about 4. Prescott Burgess there to make the stop.
Well, if Boardman's got to do anything right now, even if they don't score, they got to hold possession for a little while and keep that Harding offense off the field. And Gary Smith said, we want to be in a position where we don't have to throw the football. Well, that game plan's gone out the window, and they're going to have to. Beard's going to still have to be able to get his carries. I guess if there's anything good about this, there's still 5 minutes to go in the first quarter. There's still a lot of time left to play, but they're going to have to do something offensively, or this is going to be 50-0 again in the fourth quarter.
Second down and 6 now for the Spartans. Zetz will throw. Pass deflected and almost intercepted by James Johnson. Just when you think you got a passing alley, boy, them guys fly right to the football.
Yeah, they do a great job of breaking on the ball. They're well. We talk about what great athletes they have here, but just look at the coaching here. Those guys breaking on the football, getting up, and that was great coverage too over the top. They're a well-coached team as well as to go along with the great athletes. And
we saw late too, Ron, the guy coming underneath. In the perfect defensive position there too. So, like you said, just well-coached. And
now it's third down and 6 for the Spartans from their own 27. Zetz again to throw. Steps up. Trying to elude the rush. Throws deep, has Updegrove there, but he's well covered on the play by Mike Phillips, and the pass is incomplete. And again, Boardman goes 3 and out. And that is not good for the Spartans. Here's a look at that last play. And Warren Harding right now, that defensive line starting to chomp at the bit. Anthony Harris, number 50, felt he had a shot at the sack here, and gives Zetz some credit to elude the rush and
I think we're going to see Zetz. Well, just missed it, but he got quite a shot at the end of that play and came off the field a little wobbly.
So the punt return by Rob Masucci will take the ball to midfield and into Boardman territory. He's dropped at the Spartan 49. And after 3 straight possessions have resulted in 3 straight touchdowns. In fact, the last 3 plays offensively for Harding have been touchdowns. You almost hold your breath at what's going to happen here.
I don't know. I know Coach Patterson's been the defensive coordinator there at Boardman for a long time, and I'm sure he's seen some great ones, but it's really hard to prepare for a guy like number 13.
And this is a defense from Boardman, which has only been giving up just over 14 points a game. And you're talking great competition. Ignatius, Steubenville, Cheney, last week against Massillon Jackson. It's not a slouch of a defense. First and 10. Cokel stays in at quarterback and gives to Clarett, and finally he is snuffed out at the line of scrimmage. Dropped for a yard loss.
And the Boardman crowd just stood up and gave him a standing ovation there that they held Maurice to a yard gain.
Can you quit? Can you say that's it?
That's it.
We're happy with that. Let's go.
Yeah, that dropped his per rush average tonight to what, about 50?
Well, the Spartans defense realizes that they are going to have to play, and we've talked about the situation plenty of time. 3:45 to go on the scoreboard clock. Get a little down-home comedy with King of the Hill, weeknights at 6:30, right after The Simpsons on the Valley's Fox station, Fox 1762. Now second down and 11 for Warren Harding. Cokel to throw from the shotgun, pressured. Able to gain some yardage. Nearly sacked on the play by Chris O'Day, but he was able to get out of that tackle and pick up 2 yards and take the ball back into Spartan territory.
This is important right here. This is a big third down, I think, for Boardman, because what we saw against Ursuline and what we've seen so far tonight, you cannot take a play off against this Harding offense or they are going to burn you. They're going to score a touchdown. They need to stop here, force a punt. It may not get the greatest field position, but they'll get the ball back. And you take, at this point, you take your victories in any kind of dose you can, and stopping them 3 and out is far better than what they've been able to accomplish so far tonight.
So the Raiders need 9. Possession down here. Fake to Clarett. Cokel will keep it. Not able to get the first down. He'll run the ball down to around the 43 for a gain of 5. Now it's a situation where the Raiders feel confident enough that this is 4-down territory. Boardman has not shown the ability offensively to move the ball, so therefore they pose no threat to the defense. But the Raiders now will indeed decide to bring out the punting unit.
Tom McDaniels is still a football coach, Rob. He's going to punt the ball here. He's not going to take any chances.
Mike Hank averaging 31 yards a kick this season. Now they run the fake. They go to the up back, Maurice Clarett, who trips and cannot get the first down. He'll be stopped shy of the 41, so the Spartans will take over.
Okay, so I was wrong. Shoot me.
Well, that was a great
It's not like I
call.
haven't been wrong before.
Yeah, I mean, they caught Boardman off guard. I think Boardman thought they were going to go for it. They got their punt return unit on late. Probably ended up helping them more than helping them more than hurting them.
Ryan Beck, as you saw there, got credit for the stop. Spartans will now turn it around offensively and begin just short of their own 42. They go to the ground. Rich Lepore with his first carry of the night. Pushes the pile out to the 44, a gain of just over 2 yards. Inside of 2 minutes to go in the first quarter. It's a period which has seen Warren Harding score 3 times as they have taken a commanding 22-0 lead. And against Ursuline, they got off to a slow start for the most part, leading 7-0. It was that second quarter in which the Raiders had exploded, scoring 28 points against Ursuline. Tonight, Harding has come out and exploded in the opening quarter against Boardman. Zetz will throw. Looking for Finnemore. Almost made a great catch, but couldn't hang on. Danny Stella and Travis Stanford there with the coverage. But Zetz put it in the only spot that he could.
Yeah, I think that's a good example of why they like Tom Zetz so much at quarterback. That was a perfectly thrown pass and maybe just a little too far. Led him maybe a little bit to the sidelines, and Finnemore saw that and had to make the adjustment. Couldn't come down with it.
You know, I don't think enough can be said about Mike Finnemore. The kid is really a team player.
Yes,
starting quarterback a year ago, you're going into your senior year, and you are now relegated to being a backup quarterback, but he's done what it's taken to make this team successful. Third down now, Zetz again to throw. Pass in and out of the hands of his intended receiver. This time he was looking for Rich Lepore, who nearly made the grab at the 39, but fails to hang on, and again the Spartans are forced to punt.
I think maybe a combination there of a wet, slick field and a slick ball.
Time, though, for Zetz.
Yeah,
that's the big thing.
And he does have time, and I think they talked to him in the previous series. He did have some time, and he kind of ran around there a little bit. He would have been better off staying in the pocket, and that time he did that. He just missed his mark a little bit.
So the punt will come to the near sideline, away from Maurice Clarett and out of bounds. And for the most part, this is going to destroy Robbie Palma's average tonight because he's just angling it away from Clarett at every chance he gets.
Yeah, I don't think they were. I think they told him, don't worry about your average tonight. Just kick the ball away from Maurice.
So the Raiders will begin 1st and 10 at their own 29-yard line. And here in the first quarter, Palma's punts have covered 35, 15, 34, and the last one 27 yards in length. So he's done a decent job, and more importantly, not allowed Clarett to return one. Mike Phillips back in at quarterback, and he will throw. Finnemore from the backside can't catch him. The pass goes too tall, intended for Tremaine Warfield, and out of bounds. That'll stop the clock with 1:14 to go here in the first quarter. And again, the Raiders lead 22-0. Here's a look at tonight's officiating crew. Yet to throw a flag, Joe Moranto, the referee. The umpire, Vince Julian. John Viccarell, the veteran linesman. Line judge, Greg Pateray, and the back judge, Tony Moranto. Good staff assembled by Mike Butch tonight. Second down and 10 now from the Raider 29. Give to Clarett. Gets by the first would-be tackler, Evan Beard, and then works his way out ahead to the 35 for a gain of 6.
Well, that was a really poor developing play. I mean, it started out with a nice hole, and it closed quickly, and he gained 6 yards. I think that pretty much sums up Maurice Clarett for you guys.
That'll bring up a third down situation for the Raiders. Ball just shy of their own 35.
Third down and 5. The ball's on the 34-yard.
Steve Golden will be the wideout to the top of your screen. And Maurice Clarett in the slot at the bottom of your screen. Out of the shotgun, Phillips gets rid of it quickly, cannot find his intended receiver, Tremaine Warfield. And Boardman with its best defensive series right there.
Yeah, nice job by Evan Beard there, disrupting the pass and the sight line, I think, more than anything, of Mike Phillips.
Yeah, I think that's the first time I saw Boardman blitz tonight, too, and in passing situations. Obviously, it's a third and long situations. A good play call there by Coach Patterson, the defense coordinator.
Yeah, they just didn't pick Beard up on that one. He came through untouched.
Mike Hank again to punt. This for Hank. His first effort. The last time he lined up to punt, they ran a fake, and he's the benefactor of a great roll. And when things go right, they really go right. Boardman will now have to start 1st and 10, just short of their own 23. And we have 11 seconds to play in the first quarter.
Ball's on the 23-yard line.
There's a look at the Raider bench. Obviously, the numbers are up. They're happy once again in Warren. Spartans will take over. They'll go to the ground. Not really looking to panic much here. The give, Brad Beck. Spartans still looking for their initial first down of the game, and they won't get it in the first quarter. We'll head to period number 2 for Mollenkopf Stadium. That score's correct. It's Warren Harding 22, Boardman nothing. You're watching the high school football game of the week on Fox 17, 16. Rain now falling here quite steady at Mollenkopf Stadium. And that's not going to help the Spartans come from behind efforts tonight.
I was just going to say that doesn't help their chances tonight.
Zetz will throw here on 2nd down and 8. Now pressured, steps up, eludes the rush, hit by Prescott Burgess, then sandwiched by Clayton Davis, and Zetz will go down right around the original line of scrimmage. A rough first quarter for the Spartans offensively. They had just 13 yards in quarter number 1 as a whole, 6 of them on the ground, and this is a team which came in averaging about 162 yards a game on the ground.
Well, Warren's been doing a great job all night of pass coverage, too. Tom Zetz obviously has some time to throw the ball, but he just really has no one to throw to.
3rd down, little less than 10 for the Spartans from just beyond their own 23. Give to Evan Beard. He'll run it ahead close to the 26. Conservative play calling, and now the Spartans will have to punt. And they still have not picked up a first down tonight.
Number 28, Rob Masucci.
And if Harding was impressive against Ursuline, they're even a little more impressive tonight against Boardman.
Yeah, I think they are, and they've expanded their repertoire, if I might say, doing some different things with Maurice Clarett. They split him out twice and isolated him on some one-on-one coverage. And again, I mentioned it before. Great job by the Harding staff, scouting Boardman in their play calling tonight.
So the punt by Robbie Palma will roll dead at the Warren Harding 33-yard line, and that's where the Raiders will set up shop 1st down and 10 as we move into quarter number 2.
Yeah, how'd you like to be a defensive back and see Maurice Clarett line up in a slot across the line from you? With my blazing speed.
I learned how to backpedal real quick, that's for sure.
Yeah. Personally, I think I'd back off a little bit, about 30 yards or so.
Then you got to tackle him once he catches the ball.
Well, that's what the other 10 guys are for.
There's the toss to Clarett, who lined up as the I-back.
There he goes.
Knifes through the defense, and it's another foot race. Evan Beard's not going to catch him. Up to Grove's not going to catch him. Touchdown Raiders. Maurice Clarett does it again. 67-yard touchdown run. The kid now has 167 yards rushing tonight. 4 touchdowns. He has now gone over the 1,000-yard mark for the season. Rob, it took him 1 play longer than you thought.
Yeah, really.
You thought he'd get it in the first quarter. He did it his first play into the second quarter. And this was a nice hole, and he followed Rob Heron through the gap.
You know, guys, that's almost unfair. I mean, that's a simple toss play, you know, and he's done it twice, and get some good blocking up front, and he was really virtually untouched, and then he's in the open field, it's over.
I guess that's the point I wanted to make earlier was, you know, they're not doing anything fancy. I mean, like you said, they're a simple toss play. The pass was just a simple out pattern where he just ran 10 yards downfield and turned around, and the quarterback, Cokel, hit him with the ball, and he broke the tackle and went in for the score. And these aren't fancy, and I think that makes what he is even more special because he can do all these things. With
Mike Hank with the extra point, and the Raiders have now extended their lead to 29-0 over Boardman. You're watching the high school football game of the week on Fox 1762. Okay. His 4th touchdown of the night. 2nd on the ground. He now has 2 on the ground, 2 in the air, and the kickoff there into the end zone, and Boardman will begin at their own 20-yard line. For Maurice Clarett, he now has 237 yards in total offense. He's been a one-man wrecking crew. And the Raiders' offensive drives, their last 3 touchdowns, all 1 play apiece. 63 yards, 33 yards, 67 yards, as you see the most recent scoring drive for Warren Harding.
Yeah, I mean, it's a virtual replay of the Ursuline game. I think in the second quarter they ran 4 plays the entire quarter and scored all 4 of them. You know, Gary Smith said before the game, you know, Clarett's going to get his yards. We just want to make him get him 5 and 6 yards at a pop. Well, obviously that, you know, that wish is out of the book. And right now, I don't know what you do if you're Boardman. I guess hope the clock runs as quick as it can. You get out of here because you know, it's not a question of if, it's a question of how bad. And I think right now they just want to maybe get some consistency, get some first downs, and again, to see if they can keep that Harding offense off the field.
So the 2 tackles you see there, number 75, Steve Valos, and number 76, John Greco, have been virtually neutralized. That was the big advantage Boardman had tonight. Evan Beard's last run, as you saw, gained 2 yards. So it's now 2nd down and 8 for the Spartans from their own 22. Zetz will throw. Fires incomplete, looking for Jay Updegrove at around the 33, and it'll make up a possession down for Boardman. And now you've got to start small. I think now you've got to start by getting a first down and building something consistent.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, Zetz is having time. That offensive line, you see right there, Valos doing a good job of keeping his defender out.
Yeah, and he's just a little bit off the mark. I mean, Tom Zetz is a good quarterback. He's got great mechanics. He has good presence on the pocket. He made a couple mistakes early, but he's just, you know, off the mark. And in a game like this, you almost got to be perfect.
And he is just 3 of 9 throwing the ball tonight for 7 yards. He has misfired on his last 6 pass attempts. He'll throw again here on 3rd and 8. Zetz going to be pressured. Fires, pass intercepted by Prescott Burgess. We've seen him take a fumble back for a touchdown. Now he's going to take an interception back for a touchdown. And the Raiders add insult to injury. They have now gone on top 35-0.
Ron, I'll let you say it because you
do not throw over the middle late. Sometimes I know what I'm talking about.
Here's a look at that again for Zetz. It is the 8th time this year that he has been intercepted. It was set up because Anthony Harris pressured him from the backside, but Burgess right there to make the pick.
You know, every time tonight that Zetz is held onto the ball when he's dropped back to pass, if he hasn't gone 3 steps or 5 steps and pass, when he's tried to roll out or held on the ball a little bit late, every time he's gotten popped really good. And that time, you know, again, he threw the ball late over the middle, and that was a predictable result.
And that's where he's making his mistakes. You know, he does have some time to throw, and if he's going through his progression and it's not there, it's time to get rid of the football, really. I mean, throw it in the stand.
Yeah. Mike Hank again, perfect on the extra point attempt. He is 4 of 4 tonight, and the Raiders have now taken a 36-0 advantage over Boardman here in the second quarter. You're watching the high school football game of the week on Fox 1762.
You know, the quarterbacks, it seems like they can put one or both in, whichever quarterback they put in.
Yep. Well, 27 First News and First News at 10 on Fox 1762, the only stations with a meteorologist on staff 7 days a week. Watch the weather team on First News at 10 on Fox 1762, and then 27 First News, where your news comes first.
Yeah, unfortunately, those guys were right on tonight, weren't they?
Yes, they were. They were predicting rain. I think they were predicting a little bit of snow. Fortunately, we haven't seen that yet, but the rain is falling steadily.
That's a 4-letter word if I ever heard one.
You ain't kidding. This time Mike Hank will kick off.
Yep, there it is, Rob.
And it will go out of bounds.
Wasn't that called the Hank Shank? Didn't you call that last?
I talked to him yesterday, as a matter of fact. Nice kid.
Very nice kid.
I said, we called you slow in week 4. Didn't mean anything by it. He says, I surprised myself with that long run I had.
Well, compared to everybody else on his team, he is slow. He's probably one of the fastest guys on the field. He's probably the 13th fastest guy on the field, but the other 12 guys all are in the same uniform as him.
He had a 33-yard pass reception in that game against Ursuline a few weeks back. And
I tell you what, he could bring it on the baseball field, too. I don't know if you ever got a chance to see him play baseball. He's a good baseball player.
Spartans will begin offensively. First down and 10 from their own 35 after the kickoff goes out of bounds. Give to Beck. Gain of about 3. Brad Beck last week had a nice game against Massillon Jackson. In fact, scored a touchdown. He comes in having rushed for just over 200 yards this year and 5 scores. So he has done a nice job of spelling Evan Beard when called upon.
Boardman's did a nice job blocking up front here on the counter play. And then once again, you know, you got those safeties that can come up and fill the alley like that. Hold that to a 3-yard gain.
So now the Spartans will step up to their own 38. Needing 7 yards here. They go to the ground. Evan Beard spins out of trouble, keeps his feet. Great run. Prescott Burgess finally horse collars him out around the 48. And Boardman has its initial first down of the game following the pickup of about 11 yards.
Well, it's just, you know, I mean, we saw it last week when we got a chance to see Ursuline again after the Harding game. We mentioned it during the game that Ursuline was a good football team, and this is evident here. Boardman's a good football team, you know, and I don't know if that's, you know, just a test of how great Harding is or not, but you know, they still are definitely a good football team.
Well, Brad Beck, the ball carrier, and this time hit by a trio of Raiders: Prescott Burgess, Travis Stanford, Clayton Davis, all in there on the stop, but not until Brad Beck gets some positive yards and takes the ball over the 50, and Boardman now into Warren territory.
Well, I think you're right. I think it's just a testament to how good Warren Harding really is. You know, it's going to take a real effort on somebody's part to beat this football team, and if I'm Cincinnati Elder, I'm calling Austintown Fitch on Monday asking for tape.
They go back to the ground. Evan Beard, the ball carrier. Second down and short, and Beard very close to that first down marker.
I'm also watering the field.
Yeah, right. Well, you know, and they got McKinley next week too, who's playing real good football right now as well. And
both these teams have big games next week.
Right, they certainly do.
The Raiders welcome Kent McKinley next Saturday here to Mollenkoff Stadium, and Boardman has to travel to East Liverpool.
Right.
And that's Friday night, and the Potters are ranked #1 in Division II.
Division II, right.
So I think Boardman felt this game was for the conference.
Right.
It wasn't for the playoffs. It would have been great had they gotten the win for the playoff computer points, but they knew they still got some games ahead that can put them into the postseason.
Right. And they still got Ursuline.
Yeah, and I think, you know, I think they need to get that win next week to get them on a roll again, looking at the playoff picture. But I think they also need to beat Ursuline too. I think just to make sure. I think it'll be awfully tight. That would put them at 7-3. Right. 7-3 in Division I usually does not get you into playoffs.
Now Brad Beck on a first down carry takes the ball close to the Warren Harding 41-yard line. He was stopped in the play by Demetrius Makritis, and it'll bring up a second down and 9 for the Spartans.
Especially when one of those wins could be against a winless Mooney team. Right. It's not going to help you even with the victory. So
Zetch will give it back to Beck. Tried to cut across the grain, but then goes down. James Johnson gets credit for the tackle at the 39. It'll be a pickup of just 2. And now a third down situation for Boardman.
We see at the end of this a little frustration on Beck's part. And again, that comes, he's got a hole. He sees it, and all of a sudden he's being brought down, and it's something that he's probably not been used to seeing. And obviously a sophomore playing varsity, he probably had a pretty good freshman year last year and was used to breaking those kinds of plays.
Well, keep in mind, next week, our high school football game of the week will take us across the state line. We'll head to Western Pennsylvania. Boardman looking at a third down situation from the Raider 39. Spartans will need 7 here. They go to Beck, trying to get to the corner, hit at the 40. He'll be thrown down for a yard loss.
I guarantee he wasn't hit like that in freshman ball last year either.
No, not at all.
Again, James Johnson, one of the leading tacklers for the Raiders. Comes up and makes the stop, and now it's a 4th down. And trailing by this large of a margin, there is no punting unit at this stage, and no reason to punt.
No, I don't know what they're going to do here, but yeah, it's one of those situations again where you talk about the snowball rolling, and you get behind on a team like Harding with the great talent it is, and you're not playing a perfect game either. It's just that type of situation.
Zetz will throw on 4th and 8, steps up in the pocket, fires pass deflected by Mike Hank and broken up. The pass intended for the tight end, Mike Villagrana, but the Raiders defense is held, and it will take over on downs. And now Harding's offense will come back out, and the brave souls that are still here at Mollenkopf Stadium now will just kind of wait and see what transpires. And we've said it before, they're a threat to go from anywhere on the field. So Mike Cokel will return as quarterback. They'll go to the fullback, Dave Herron, crashes over the 40 out to the 42-yard line, close to the 43 quite possibly. Herron coming in a great compliment to Maurice Clarett, and this is a guy that Coach McDaniel says has been very unselfish. Would like to run the ball a little bit more, but realizes that there's a bigger picture out there.
Yeah, Dave Herron, I had an opportunity to meet the young man last year during track season, and I know Coach McDaniels and the rest of their staff, when you talk about Dave Herron, they talk about the type of kid he is and the quality and the character that he has.
So the carry takes the ball out close to the 43, a gain of just less than 4. 2nd down for the Raiders. Cokel wanting to throw and had the ball slip out of his hands, so the pass will be ruled an incompletion. And that's where the wet ball comes into play. And now a 3rd down situation for Warren Harding. Here's a look at that again. Play action to Clarett. Yeah, and he just had it slip out.
Yeah, you could see he's having a tough time getting it with his footing out there. I'm sure that field's starting to slick up a little bit.
So I'm sure when they look at the tape on Monday, he'll get a few laughs.
Yeah, you laugh about it then, but you don't laugh about it right then and there.
I'm not so sure that wasn't a fumble because his arm came forward, but the ball didn't come with his hand.
Now 3rd down. They push the ball back to around the 42. Then this time Cokel dropped the snap, and the Spartans have recovered the fumble. Evan Beard has pounced on the loose ball, and Boardman comes up with the turnover. So each team now with one takeaway. For the Raiders, that is the 4th time they have given the ball away on a fumble. And for the Spartans, that is their 8th fumble recovery of the year. They're a +2 in the turnover ratio. Wanted to hand it off before he actually had full control.
And a slick ball, a combination of everything. You know, I'm sure, Warren Harding, the last thing they want to do is give Boardman any glimmer of hope here. I mean, they want to keep things they're in control. They want to keep it that way and not get sloppy here.
1st and 10 as Boardman takes over at the Harding 42. Give to Brad Beck. Nice running room. And then push back on the play. Danny Stella in on the stop, and he is joined by James Johnson once again.
Yeah, and really in the last couple of minutes here, Harding actually has gotten a little sloppy, and the last series Boardman was able to move the ball a little bit more, and I'm sure Coach McDaniels doesn't want to see that happen. He's got 2 real tough games coming up, and they need to continue to use this game for experience and progress as the game goes on.
A pickup of nearly 4 by Beck.
Yeah, you don't want to get in sloppy habits with Ken McKinley
Right.
and the schedule they've got coming up.
Ball now shy of the Raider 38. Give to Evan Beard, spins off the first tackler. Takes it inside the 35, down to the 34. Stop made by Clayton Davis, and now the Spartans' backs are starting to pick up some positive yardage, and pretty consistent at that.
Yeah, I think they found something here in this little counter play, a little trap play. What they're doing is it's called an influence trap. They'll pull the front side guard and the back side guard and actually run it behind the back side guard. And they've used that play a couple times this past the series before this one.
We got to get him a telestrator up.
Another gain of 4, 3rd and 2. Give to Beck, 1st down yardage and more. Beck is loose at the 20. Grabbed from behind and wrestled to the ground inside the 15 by Mike Phillip. But the Spartans with their first scoring threat of the night. And now Boardman's starting to come up with some positives offensively.
When Brad Beck, as you guys mentioned before, he's 5'8" and 165 pounds, but he runs a lot stronger than that. He does a nice job in the open field here too. Good job of tucking the ball away there at the end.
Beck with a 20-yard pickup. He now has 39 yards rushing tonight on 9 carries. 1st and 10 for the Spartans. This time Evan Beard works it down close to the 12. Short gain, if any. 3:40 to go in the second quarter. Warren Harding leading 36-0. However, the Spartans are threatening for the first time tonight.
Well, it'd be real nice for Boardman's sake. And I'm sure they want to push the ball in here, give them something positive to go into halftime with.
Evan Beard tonight, 24 yards rushing on 8 carries. He knew he was going to have to work for every one of them. This time, Zetz fumbled the snap from center, and the Raiders have recovered. So Warren Harding comes up with the loose football. This time it is Anthony Harris, number 50, who comes up with the fumble recovery, and the Raiders have turned away Boardman once again.
I'll tell you, my timing tonight's been impeccable.
You're a jinx.
I think I was the one that said before the game, I really don't think it'll rain till later.
Yeah. Put it away. So Mike Phillips will return at quarterback. 1st and 10 for the Raiders from their own 14-yard line. Give to Clarett. Hanging on for dear life, Evan Beard. He won't let go, and Clarett will go down at around the 19, following a pickup of nearly 5. Inside of 3 minutes to go in the first half. So Warren Harding just looking to run out the clock. Maybe dry off a little bit in the locker room at half. And now it's a situation, 2 guys, where the Raiders cannot afford to get a little confident here. You can't afford to look ahead.
No, as I said, you can't. I'm sure Coach McDaniels is concerned about that when the game gets out of hand. With the type of schedule that he has coming up, you want to continue to progress and play crisp football.
Reverse, Clarett gives the football to Travis Stanford, but Boardman not fooled. Great play by Mike Villagrana. The 6'3", 225-pound junior did a super job of collapsing in on that play.
Yeah, he did a great job here. I don't know if we can see it on this frame, but he did a nice job of breaking off the blocking attempt of Travis McCullough. Stepped right in the lane, did a great job of keeping his lane covered there.
So that results in a loss on the play of about 1.5 yards. So it'll bring up a 3rd down situation for the Raiders from their own 17-yard line.
Yeah, just for the record, that was Rob Schmidt who said they were just going to run the clock out. So he was wrong this time.
Well, they ran the ball. Does that count?
No.
Now here they throw. Phillips fires complete to Tremaine Warfield, who make the catch around the 20. Will not get the 1st down, however. And the Raiders are going to be forced to punt. 1:10 to go in the first half of play. And Mike Hank and company will come on to punt.
Gee, if I'm Boardman, I don't know. I call timeout. They got 3 left. You can't take them with you.
I'm surprised they're not going after this one.
Yeah, Hank will be standing at his own 7, probably about the 9 by the time he kicks it. And this is a nice one into the rain. Over the head of Updegrove, and it will bounce inside the 25 and roll dead at the 22-yard line. An outstanding punt by Mike Hank, obviously his best effort of the night. This one covered 57 yards in the rain. And now the Spartans will have to begin 1st down and 10 from their own 22. So if they had any thoughts of good field position, that was immediately wiped out.
When it rains, it pours.
Oh, boy. Are you writing that in your article tomorrow for the paper or not? How about Hank tonight, though? 2 punts, 42 yards in length, 57 yards in length. And that's from a kid who was probably, he had the worst average in the conference coming into tonight's game. Give to Brad Beck. Follows Evan Beard ahead out to the 24.
Yeah, but did he even have enough punts to qualify for the
question? Stop on the play by Rob Masucci.
That's got to be one of the most boring parts of practice, when you call a punt team on.
There's a look at the tackle again after the gain of 2. Watch Gina Merrick. 62. Handoff, Evan Beard. Rob Masucci again hanging on to make the stop. Beard goes ahead to the 27-yard line. Give him a gain of 3 on the play. And that may be our final snap of the first half. In fact, Boardman's already walking to the locker room. 5 seconds to go. There go the Spartans to the locker room. The Raiders will come to the near sideline. We have played 2 quarters from Mollenkopf Stadium, and the score is correct. Warren Harding has been very impressive. The Raiders take a 36-0 advantage into the locker room as they lead their rivals from Boardman. Stay tuned. Our halftime show is next. We'll feature the Raiders marching band play of Warren Harding offensively. The Raiders, in addition to that huge first half lead, have racked up 181 yards rushing, 172 of them accounted for by Maurice Clarett. And the Raiders own a huge lead in total yards, 267-73. And the big story, for the most part, Boardman's passing attack has been thwarted tonight. Tom Zetz has only thrown for 7 yards. And here's how the Raiders did all of their scoring in the first half of play. Pretty simple. Pass to Maurice Clarett. That was the first touchdown strike from Mike Phillips. It capped off the 7-play, 80-yard drive. After that, it was Mike Phillips tossing to Maurice Clarett. That was the Raiders' second of 3 first-quarter touchdowns. This one went for 63 yards, but it was not his longest run of the night. Still, Clarett has already gone over the 1,000-yard mark for the season. He has now picked up 1,049 yards this campaign, and that was his second touchdown of the night. Still in the first quarter, new quarterback, same result, Mike Cokel. So what's he decide to do? Throw to Maurice Clarett. Good decision. Clarett then does the rest, making it a 33-yard pass play for a touchdown. The Raiders, with about 5.5 minutes still left in the first quarter, led 22-0. They added 2 more second-quarter touchdowns, the first of which came when Mike Phillips tossed it to Maurice Clarett. Pretty simple offensive strategy there. This was his longest run of the night, a 67-yard outburst. And the Raiders had upped the ante to 29-0. The kid is just a perfect specimen of speed and strength. But the Raiders' defense, which has done an outstanding job tonight and probably again being overshadowed by Maurice Clarett, accounted for the game's last touchdown. Tom Zetz in the pocket would be intercepted by Prescott Burgess eventually. And Burgess, who is just a junior and highly recruited, after making the pick, would then return it for the score, 34 yards in length. And the Raiders right now find themselves in complete control at 36-0 after the return by Burgess capped off the Raiders' scoring summary. Here's a look. They would go back and repeat because they gave the ball to Harding, and the Raiders promptly moved it 80 yards for their first of 5 touchdowns. In the meantime, Ron Irucci has been nice enough to rejoin us here in the booth. Did a little radio work at halftime.
Yeah, they could give a shout out to Bob Church and the boys over there. Doing a fine job.
Ron spent halftime tonight working with WHKW AM 1440. I used to work there. In fact, that's where I started when it was called WRRO.
And those guys said they were very sorry to see you go, Rob.
I'm sure they were. Here's a look at the Spartans starting offense. Tom Zetz, again, the young quarterback, starting to mature, but he's had all kinds of problems tonight, as most quarterbacks have had this year, facing that Raiders defense. Evan Beard been held in check for the most part, but he is still a tough cookie. After the kickoff went into the end zone, Spartans' offensive attack will begin 1st and 10 at its own 20-yard line. Out of the stacked eye, Zetz will throw. Pressured by Corey Tucker, throws. They're going to rule the pass complete. He finds Rich Lepore short of the first down marker, but still a gain on first down, which will cover 8 yards. Here's a look at the Spartans' offensive line. 2 big tackles, Steve Vallis and John Greco. Vallis, 6'4", 290. Greco, 6'5", 280, and he's just a junior. And that's what the Spartans were hoping to take advantage of tonight. Didn't unfold and didn't occur that way. 2nd down and 2. Give to Brad Beck. Stood up, won't get the first down. Demetrius McCreadis in on the stop, along with James Johnson. It'll be a pickup of a yard, however. The Raiders' blood D, very good. Corey Tucker has already made his presence felt here in the second half, as has Demetrius McCreadis. Mike Hank, one of the team's top tacklers, and Anthony Harris has pressured Zetz all night long, guys. Okay. And there's Harris right there, number 50. The Raiders' secondary, anchored by Prescott Burgess, who has returned a pass interception for a touchdown tonight. 3rd down and 1 for Boardman from their own 29. Give to Evan Beard, trying to bounce it outside, will not get the first down. The stop made by Rob Masucci. And that's going to be a gain of nothing, maybe a loss of a half a yard. And the Spartans will have to punt.
Well, it's probably not the greatest play call, I guess, in terms of trying to outrun Harding to the side. They had success in the first half running the traps and running up the middle. Maybe that's where they need to go back to.
Well, into punt once again, Robbie Palma. His best effort of the first half covered 41 yards. But he's done the most important thing tonight, and that's kick it away from Maurice Clarett, who was not back there that time to return the kick. Instead, it was Travis Stanford and Rob Masucci. Still, the ball went out of bounds right around midfield. Raiders offense will begin 1st and 10 at the Boardman 49.
Yeah, guys, I was kind of curious to see if Maurice Clarett would come on the field in the second half. You talked about earlier him nursing that groin injury, but it looks like they're going to go with him here in the, at least the third quarter, beginning of the third quarter.
And the Raiders offensive unit pretty much the same as the way it started. Give to Clarett. Gain of only a yard on the play. Rich Lepore in on the stop. Also coming up, Brian Weiser from his safety position. And it'll bring up a 2nd down and long now for the Raiders. So Warren Harding's offensive unit trying to get things started up once again here in the third quarter.
Well, I'm sure they were probably reminded in the locker room about the sloppiness at the end of the half, and Coach McDaniels and his staff is probably concerned right now. They just want to see that nice balanced attack again, and no penalties, no turnovers.
Phillips will keep it. He'll run the football to the 44-yard line of Boardman. Phillips brought down there. Once again, Rich Lepore in on the stop, along with Kevin Tuminello. Pick up a 4, 3rd down situation for the Raiders. And I think something that really hasn't been talked about a whole lot, we've talked about how the Ursuline game for Warren Harding may have been classified the game of the year. Mm-hmm. Tonight, the SVC Championship. These are big games, obviously, for the kids. Tom McDaniels has been through this before. At Camp McKinley, when you coach against Massillon year in and year out, everything becomes, and he's won a state championship. He's won a national championship. Games don't get any bigger than what he's already seen. And he passes that off to the kids, and it shows.
Right. Yeah, and you could just see that in their play too. There's just the kind of business as usual type of attitude. It's like they come into the game, open the briefcase, here we go. And that's the type of coach Tom McDaniels is. He kind of stays even keel, and that's pretty much. You'll see that characteristic of a lot of good football teams. Obviously, football is a game of emotion, and you want your kids to play with emotion, but you don't want to be too high or too low ever. You want to play with that even keel.
Well, Hank to punt, drop the snap, and then gets it off. So the Raiders have to go 3 and out. Boardman's going to get good field position. The punt will be down just shy of the 35. That's going to be a punt of around 10 yards and will heavily damage Mike Hank's average, which was 49.5 yards in the first 2 quarters. Boardman's offense will come out. So the defense for Boardman does a nice job there. It wasn't like Clarett was not on the field, and they stopped him for a gain of 1 and a gain of nothing.
Right, and Boardman has shown some signs of greatness tonight too. Some of the things they're doing, obviously they're a good football team, or else they wouldn't be in the position that they're in right now, even with the schedule that they played early on. And I think they'll continue to be a good football team after this game.
Give on 1st down, Brad Beck sheds a couple of would-be tacklers, runs it ahead close to the 38-yard line.
Number 47, Brad Beck.
Eventually stopped on the play by Prescott Burgess.
On the play by number 4, Prescott Burgess.
So we are inside of 8.5 minutes to go here in the third quarter of play. Warren Harding leading comfortably 36-0 over Boardman.
Well, I think this is a case here for Boardman, Ron. You've been around the game. I would guess they're just going to go back and do the things that they feel they need to work on and things they want to shore up for next week, and because they've got to come back and play another very good opponent next week.
Well, there's Evan Beard. The fullback is loose. It's a foot race. Evan Beard going to be traced down by Travis Stanford. But Evan Beard still giving it his all. And the Spartans with their biggest gain of the night. And they'll have a 1st down and goal to go inside Harding's 5.
Boy, just a simple trap play up the middle here, and Evan Beard doing a nice job there. And as we said before, Boardman has definitely shown some signs of greatness, and it was just kind of a matter of time until they, broke a decent run. But boy, just look at the speed of Travis Stanford here. And gets a nice angle on Evan Beard. But back to what you said, Rob, too. that's true. You want to go out and, you know, you're not going to come out here just with the score at this point. You're not going to come out here firing and really getting away and doing things that you're not used to doing either, because they do have a tough schedule. And there still are some playoff hopes for them still after this game.
Brad Beck, the ball carrier there on first down and goal to go. Stuffed in the middle of the line. The run by Evan Beard covered 58 yards, and that'll boost up his numbers. He now has 85 yards rushing tonight. Brad Beck, however, has carried the ball more in his last effort. Got the ball down inside the 5.
I guess that kind of sums up the difference in these two teams. Maurice Clarett breaks into the open. Right. He outruns everybody. Evan Beard breaks out into the open, and he gets run down.
Second down and goal to go for the Spartans, looking for their first touchdown of the night. Give to Beard, down to the 3, pickup of 2. The last time the Spartans were in scoring territory, they fumbled the ball away. So it's now third down and goal to go for Boardman. And this is a position where Zetz has the ability to throw, and he's got some very talented receivers and a good tight end in Villagrana.
Yeah, and that, you know, I was going to mention that earlier. We haven't mentioned those games, Villagrana, Up the Grove, you know, those guys that really haven't been involved in this game much, and that's kind of what got them to this point. I know Beard started out the season real well, but those guys need to get involved in the game a little bit more.
Well, they're going to go to Beard, and he gets in. Touchdown, Boardman. And the Spartans have finally dented the scoreboard, and that one looked easy. That was a well-designed play. Here's a look at it again for you. Evan Beard with his 8th rushing touchdown of the year.
Yeah, simple belly play off the left side was missed tackle there at the line of scrimmage, but sometimes he can make it look easy. He's a powerful runner.
And that for the Spartans, their 14th rushing touchdown this season. And they'll go for 2. Now the backs are split. And Zetz will look to throw. Looking for his tight end. There's Villagrana. Makes the catch. And the 2-point conversion is good. 6.5 minutes to go in the third quarter. Boardman is now cut into their deficit. The Spartans trail Warren Harding 36-8. You're watching the high school football game of the week on Fox 1762. There's a good look at the tight end for the Boardman Spartans. Number 88, Mike Villagrana, the 6'3", 225-pound junior, was on the receiving end of the 2-point conversion, which followed Evan Beard's touchdown run. And now the Spartans will give the ball right back. Andrew Good will kick off. And one thing Warren Harding has done with this big lead is they have taken Andrew Good out of the game. Because if it came down to a field goal kicking contest, it heavily favored the Spartans. This one will be picked up on a bounce by Travis Stanford. Grabbed by the jersey and finally pulled to the ground by Chris O'Day. And Warren Harding's offense will come out and set up shop, 1st and 10 at their own 26. For Boardman, 5-play, 65-yard scoring drive, capped off with a 3-yard run by Evan Beard, who set it up with a 58-yard gallop. And now the Spartans finally with the chance to smile.
I think that's what they needed, just to get off that schneid, so to speak, and do some positive things. They made a stop on their defensive series the last time and turned that into 6 points, 8 points, and now you build from that.
And now Phillips' pass batted around and intercepted. So the Spartans, Jason Meckling, comes up with the batted pass, and now Boardman will get the ball 1st and 10 at Warren Harding's 25-yard line. They've got a mountain to climb, but they've taken the first couple of steps.
I think Villagrana with the got up. Yep.
Yeah, he did.
Look at that ball bounce around. And right there, Jason Meckling with the INT. That is the first time this year that a Raider quarterback has thrown an interception.
Wow, that's impressive, really. It's not like they haven't thrown the ball either.
No, they like to throw. So the Spartans have a chance to cut into their deficit even more here. A give to Evan Beard, who slips and falls, maintained his feet long enough to run the ball to the 20 for a pickup of 5.
Yeah, I think we're going to get a personal foul here also.
And how about that? Our first penalty flag of the night comes in the third quarter. About 6 minutes left in the frame. Call's going to go against Warren Harding. And all of a sudden, guys, you know, the lead's big, but they're not playing the way they were in the first quarter and a half.
Yeah, you don't want to lose your focus here, guys. That's for sure.
So this personal foul will take the ball to the 10, and it will be a first down and goal to go for the Spartans. It's a dead ball foul following the run of Evan Beard.
Yeah, you're going to see number 62, LeVar Allen, defensive tackle there, just a little extracurriculars after the play.
Good job by the camera guys.
Tom McDaniel will not be happy with that.
And Boardman goes right in.
Wow.
That's Brad Beck, number 47. The sophomore crashes in from 10 yards out, and Boardman, just like that, on back-to-back possessions, have now scored 2 consecutive touchdowns.
Outstanding job by Boardman, doing what they do best, and that's power running. Brad Beck, the sophomore halfback, he looks like a good one. And when you consider the fact that Evan Beard's a senior,
right,
and they're going to need somebody to step in his role next year, it looks like Beck is.
And they're another
the
team
challenge.
that's got some nice young players too. We talked about Ursuline last week, and even Mooney, is going to be a lot better next year. But I'm looking at some of these guys. Villagrana's a junior. They get this Tumanella kid whose brother plays at Toledo now, who's obviously comes from some decent stock, 6'4", 260. They got some kids to look forward to next year too.
Well, the Spartans fail on the 2-point try. Zetz tried to find Jay Updegrove, but it was intercepted by Mike Hank. Yet the Spartans have now put up 14 points in the third quarter. 5:49 remaining in the frame. Boardman down by 22. You're watching the high school football game of the week on Fox 1762. So the Boardman Spartans now, on the strength of an Evan Beard touchdown run and a Brad Beck touchdown run, find themselves back in the running, so to speak. Andrew Good again to kick off. Boardman only needed 2 plays to cover 25 yards. The scoring drive set up by an interception, courtesy of Jason Meckling. Brad Beck went in from 10 yards out, his 6th rushing touchdown of the season. And now we'll find out what Harding can do offensively. And I don't know at this stage if it becomes an option to leave Maurice Clarett in. I think you've got to leave him in now and try and reassert yourself.
Yeah, get the momentum back. And the key, I think, here for Boardman, guys, there's still almost 18 minutes to play in this football game. They've got just a little bit of a spark here. If they can make a stop, get a turnover even, they get another touchdown, suddenly, it's a 2-touchdown ball game and anything's possible.
And you could just see they're flying around a little bit here,
There they come.
Defense.
There it is.
That's their best defensive play of the night.
It's made by number 88, Mike Villagrana, on Maurice Clarett. So the Raiders opened up the drive at their own 22, but that's going to be a huge loss. And now Warren Harding will have to have the ball at their own 12. It's a 10-yard loss on the play.
I'll tell you what, Villagrana's made some nice plays here in this quarter, and he's kind of taking charge of that Boardman defense right now, Ron.
Yeah, and that was, really, they scored 3 times on that play in the first half, and that time he did a nice job of shedding off the block and getting upfield and cutting off that and really containing Maurice Clarett.
So Mike Cokel is the quarterback, and he wants to throw. Down the middle, has a man, pass is caught. Danny Stella makes the grab. Mike Finnemore's got him and brings him down at the 30, but that's the big play that Warren Harding desperately needed. And now the Raiders once again in scoring position. Boy, a well-thrown ball by Mike Cokel. He hit Stella in stride.
Yeah, nice call again. Play action pass there. You're going to fake the ball to Clarett and send Stella on the post route. And again, they still got man-on-man coverage out there, and Danny Stella's a nice-looking target.
That's a 58-yard pass play, and now the Raiders have the ball at the Spartan 30.
I think that's one of the things that makes Warren Harding so good is you get that little bit of momentum against them, a little bit of a spark, and then they hit a big play like that against you, and it just kind of really drains you.
1st and 10 now for Warren. Give to Clarett. Hit initially on the play by John Greco. And all of a sudden, Clarett has kind of tapered down. He's not been able to do the things we saw him do early in the game. Clarett's last 4 rushes have been for -9 yards.
Yeah, and I think, too, the Boardman defense, when it's 36-0, figure, well, you got nothing to lose. We might as well go all out and do the best we can. And, they've got pride. And I'm sure their pride was hurt by that first half performance. And they got a little bit they got that step back in their swagger, so to speak. Or their swagger back in their step.
Cokel on the keeper. Going to go down inside the 25, inside the 30 at the 29. Again, Chris O'Day in on the stop for the Spartans defense.
You know, and I'm not so sure that the Harding offensive line might be getting a little bit beat up too. I mean, Boardman's defensive line's much bigger than them, and they are good. They're very good. You know, and they're starting to get some penetration up front too.
Here's a look at that play. And right now the Raiders have kind of slowed down somewhat. Their last 2 plays have netted just 1 yard. Cokel running out of the shotgun, but the simple give. And then Cokel slipped, and that may have disrupted the play a little bit as well, allowing O'Day to come up and make the stop. So it's now 3rd down and 9 for Harding. Dead handoff to Clarett. We saw him score on this against Moeller, and he's inside the 10, and he's inside the 5, and nearly scored again. Same play he scored on against Cincinnati Moeller in week 2, and he nearly popped it for a touchdown. So Clarett takes the football down to the Spartans 2. It's a gain of 27 yards.
Yeah, Harding took advantage a little bit of Boardman's defense there with the counter play and a little bit of misdirection. The last couple of plays, they've basically been running right at him, and I'm sure that there's some things that they're keying on in the backfield that Harding picked up with and did a nice job on the misdirection play.
Boy, Rob, that's exactly what you talked about. You stop them, you stop them, you stop them. They get that big play, and it deflates you emotionally. I mean, they stopped Clarett for -9 yards on 4 carries. He comes back and pops one for 27. Now they go back to Clarett. He's looking for the goal line, and he is in. Touchdown, Harding. So he gets in again for Clarett. His 5th touchdown of the night, 3rd rushing score of the game, and this one was the hardest one he had to work for.
Well, and he was met right at the line of scrimmage there, and that's just a testimony how strong he really is.
Clarett putting up some big numbers again tonight. He's got 192 yards rushing this evening. Mike Hank again on for the extra point. He's been perfect tonight. And he stays perfect. 2.5 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. Warren Harding has extended its lead now to 43-14. So just when the Spartans feel like they've got a little life, Warren Harding comes right back and pretty much now has put the dagger in their heart. That's a huge touchdown drive. Ron, is that a drive that marks a champion?
Oh, I think absolutely. I mean, you know, the momentum was shifting there. It was clear that the Boardman was really starting to play with a lot more emotion. You know, they were flying around, came up with some big plays defensively. And again, there's that even keel we're talking about that, you know, Harding doesn't get too bent out of shape over it. And they just go back to work and throw in a few wrinkles there and march right down the field. But most definitely, that's definitely characteristic of a great football team.
They did it 78 yards in 6 plays. Maurice Clarett going in from the final 2. He also had a run in that drive of 27 yards. The big play, though, was the pass of 58 yards from Mike Cokel to Danny Stella. And the Raiders now on top 43-14. Kickoff by Anthony Harris. Will be returned by Jay Updegrove. Out to the 30. And we'll go down there. Tackled on the play by Anthony Hoke. Well, the big plays, the hottest highlights, and more scores. Friday night at 11:15, watch Football Friday on 27 First News, where your news comes first. We'll have highlights of all the games for you next week, including our game of the week next Friday, which will be Sharpsville and Kennedy Catholic. 1st and 10 for the Spartans, now from their own 30. Give to Evan Beard. Hit by Mike Hank after a gain of 2. Also Mike Phillips in there and Demetrius Makritis for the stop. Now the clock continues to run. 2 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. Does Boardman take a different approach now?
Well, you know, I don't know. I think like Rob mentioned earlier, you know, you're looking ahead at your schedule, and you want to keep doing the things that you do and not come up with something crazy.
Toss sweep, Brad Beck. He'll take the ball ahead to around the 34, another gain of 2. It'll bring up a 3rd down situation for the Spartans. And all of a sudden you go from possibly trying to play catch-up football to now just trying to once again survive. Yeah, that's a good point. Brad Beck just kind of tiptoeing his way through there, and again, that field is wet. It's been raining constantly from the outset of tonight's contest.
Well, you talk about a schedule, though. I mean, Boardman's got the #1 team in Division I tonight. They get the #1 team in Division II next week.
They played the #1 team in St. Ignatius
at that time. They've got Ursuline down the road. That's was the defending state champion.
Was the #1 team in Division III or 4.
Third and short toss to Jay up to Grove, won't get the first down.
They scrimmage Poland, right? Who's #1 in Division III.
Right. Yeah, they definitely know.
Here's a look at that play. On third down and about 5, they try to swing it out. And, I'm not sure if this play is going to work too well against that Raider defense because of how quick it is and how well they pursue to the football.
Yeah, but that's a staple, I'm sure, the Boardman offense is because up to Grove against probably 9 other opponents this year is going to have that advantage in speed and quickness, and that's a staple of their offense.
Again, Robbie Palma to punt. This one will be fielded by Clarett, but then he fumbled it out of bounds.
He's human.
I think he wanted to return that one. He doesn't get a chance to return too many punts any longer.
No.
He's already taken 4 back this year for touchdowns. And those came in the first 3 weeks of the season. Well, for local news, when you watch...
Yeah, on a slippery field,
yeah.
It wouldn't take much to aggravate that.
He stays in. Fake the toss to him. And Cokel will crash and burn. Mike Villagrana in there, virtually untouched. Comes up with the quarterback sack.
Covered up by number 88, Mike Villagrana.
Again, the slippery field conditions come into play, but Villagrana untouched on that one. And
at the end of the third
Yeah, I'm not so sure that wasn't a mix-up on the offensive line. Normally, you don't let the defensive end rush the quarterback, especially off of play action when you got your back to him. He might have something to say to one of those guys up front. Say, hey, you might want to pick up that guy next time.
That's the end of the third quarter from Mollenkopf. We'll head to the final 12 minutes of play with our score, Warren Harding 43, Boardman 14. You're watching the high school football game of the week on Fox 1762. Thing left here in the next few minutes, the Bugs at Mollenkopf Stadium. They're the only ones that can endure the rain. We have not had a lot of luck this year with our game of the week as far as close contests, have we?
No, I thought you mentioned last week that it was Toter's fault. He jinxed us.
I'm sticking to that story. Raiders come out and throw. Cokel to Clarett, close to the first down. Well, actually, no, he's close to the original line of scrimmage. I take that back after the sack, which ended the third quarter. And the Raiders just trying to make that up. Little quick hitter here. That play worked for a touchdown in the first half.
Nice job by Clarett there. He bobbled the catch originally, stuck with it while being getting his arms wrapped around him.
Mike Finnemore gets the tackle. Raiders now have the ball just shy of their own 25. They're down at about 10.
I think he's answered a question for Coach Trussell tonight. I think the guy can catch the football out of the backfield for sure.
Cokel's pass again intended for Clarett, this time incomplete. Ryan Weiser had coverage defensively, and the Raiders will have to punt. So Boardman will get the ball back and should have good field position as they will touch it for the first time in the final quarter.
Guys, I keep hearing the debate. Every time I come back to Warren, there's always the comparisons that go out there against the great Warren teams. Rob Smith, I know you've been around Warren football a lot, and how do you see this team anyway? Is the 90 team, the great, that.
There's a lot of similarities with that 90 team. I think the 90 team may have had some more game breakers on the outside. They didn't have the running attack that this team has. Anthony Butler was a solid back in 90, but nowhere near what Maurice Clarett is.
Right.
Fullback, pretty comparable between Myron Elsie and Dave Herron. I think the receivers in the 1990 team were better, but I think speed-wise, this team may be a little quicker.
Right.
I think that's the biggest difference I've seen, and they may be a little bit deeper. Keep in mind that 90 team was a consolidation, so you had 2 starting. Zetz will throw on first down. Slipped a little bit. Fires pass intercepted by Mike Hank. Picked it right out of midair, and the Raiders will get the ball back at the Boardman 41. So Mike Hank pilfers the pass of Tom Zetz. Second time Zetz has been picked off tonight. and it's the 9th time he's thrown an interception this year.
Yeah, off the play action pass here, and Michael Hank, again, we talked about the coaching aspect and to go along with the great athletes, and Michael Hank does a great job of underneath coverage there. That's his job as a linebacker, to stay underneath the receivers in that defense, and obviously the DBs are over the top.
You know, Ron, to get back to the comment as far as comparing teams, you know, that 1974 Harding team had a great running back in John Henry Ziegler.
Yeah.
The old Western Reserve teams here in Warren had great defenses led by the Browners.
Sure.
This may be a compilation of all of them.
Right.
This year's team may be a pretty good combination of everything. Maurice Clarett still in the game, running the ball hard. However, he'll be dumped right at the line of scrimmage. No gain on the play. 2nd down for the Raiders. Their biggest concern now, just run the clock and get out of here with their 7th consecutive win of the season. I think you have to start looking at greatest teams ever. And where does this team rank, not just in Warren football history, but greatest teams out of the Mahoning Valley ever?
Well, you look at some of the great teams that Mooney had, and right away I always hear the comparisons between the great Ted Bell and Maurice Clarett. And I was very young when Ted Bell was playing for Mooney, but I remember just going to the games and hearing about him. And he was like a god, you know, around Youngstown. And a lot of people say that there's a lot of similarities between the two. They both had decent size and very powerful runners.
Well, Mike Phillips throws an errant pass that's intercepted by Mike Finnemore. He then runs into his own man, Mike Villagrana. But Finnemore gets the pick, and for Mike Phillips, he throws the interception. And Warren Harding has now thrown 2 picks tonight, both by Phillips. It's the first 2 times he's been intercepted this year. But the Spartans still hanging tough, and they'll get the ball back. Sure, he'd like to get this one back, however.
That's a mistake there.
Just a little too much air.
He didn't throw over the middle late, did he?
Looking for Johnny Moore.
I think he did. He did even double pump so he could throw a little bit later.
So Boardman will begin 1st and 10 at their own 23. Zetz will give the ball to Brad Beck. Good running room. Chopped down, however, by Mike Hank at the 29.
You got to try and market that saying, because you use it every week, you know, like Vital.
Yeah.
Did you use it on radio at halftime?
Yeah, I think I did.
Did
I
you?
think we talked about that. No,
That's a copyright infringement.
Hey, that reminds me, is it true that after you left...
Here we go.
Is it true that after you left the radio station, they had to change the call letters because RRO stood for Rob Rules the Operations?
That's very good. Now, see, Ron, that is why he gets paid and you do not.
I never can come out. He just leaves me speechless all the time.
That's good. I think Rob Toder is God. That's why I subscribe to the Vindicator. Movement on the line. Jason Meckling will be the guilty party here. He'll be called for illegal procedure. That'll move the ball back 5 yards.
I got to throw this one in here. I don't think Claire Massera thinks you're God.
Well, we had a little disagreement. We agreed to disagree.
Well, you can see your favorite NFL team play every Sunday. Watch Fox 1762 and 27 WKBN for all the hard-hitting NFL action once again this season. So the ball heads right back to the original line of scrimmage. They snap it from the 23. Zetz will toss it back to Beck. Runs it over the 25, close to the 26. We've still got 8 minutes and 15 seconds to go in tonight's game. Raiders lead 43-14, but Boardman has the football.
Yeah, I heard the OHSA wasn't very happy with me, but that paid vacation they got to Hawaii last winter probably helped calm their anger.
I can see you won't be joining us next week. Oh, no, we're in Western Pennsylvania. You're in good shape.
Right, he's okay.
You're all right. You haven't offended the PIAA yet.
I've not offended the PIAA yet.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
3rd down for the Spartans. They'll need about 6. Zetz quick drop throws through the hands of Mike Finnemore and incomplete. Had the 1st down, could he have hung on to the ball? And instead, Boardman will have to punt it away.
Number 4, Prescott Burgess. Number 7, Travis Stanford.
Pretty well thrown. Finnemore knew he should have had this one. A little wobbly. I thought it was a little more zip on it.
Yeah, nice job on a 3-step drop. And when he throws on rhythm, he does a nice job, really. I think he needs to work a little bit, of going through his progression reads when they're not there.
Palma with a line drive. Big bounce, grab by Clarett. Updegrove had him, couldn't hang on. Clarett trying to get around and hurdled over top of Brian Weiser before Chris O'Day slammed him to the turf at the 37. And for the crowd that's left at Mollenkopf, they're like we are, in awe. 7.5 minutes to go in the game. We'll step aside. It's Warren Harding 43 and Boardman 14. You're watching the high school football game of the week on Fox 1762. Play resumes. Raiders go right back to the ground. That's Maurice Clarett. This drive starts at the 37, and he'll pick up 2 yards. Let's take a look back at that punt. This was amazing. Looked like Jay Updegrove had him right there. Shed that tackle. Now watch this.
As he's stumbling, falling and slipping.
That is something. That is something. Maurice Clarett. So the Raiders now with a 2nd down situation. Ball just beyond their own 38. Phillips out of the shotgun. Throws behind Danny Stella and incomplete. Updegrove had coverage for Boardman. And now it's 3rd down for the Raiders. Coming into tonight's game, if you look at the Division I, Region I computer standings, the Raiders had slipped to 5th. I mean, despite winning last week over Fitch, they dropped to 5th. Boardman had moved up to 7th. But after tonight's performance, the Raiders are going to move up because Boardman came in with 26 level 1 points. So that gives Harding 32 right there. So they'll move up. I mean, they should be able to surpass Strongsville and Solon, I would imagine, again, and move back into 3rd behind Ignatius and Lakewood St. Ed's.
Yeah, and talking to the Harding staff earlier, even in the Ursuline game, we were talking about the schedule in this part of the season, and you know, they felt like if they got 2 out of the 3, that they would be in pretty good shape, and I think that's probably true there, looking at those numbers.
Now the Spartans were 7th, just ahead of Cleveland Glenville. Now I would imagine should Glenville win this weekend, Boardman would drop back, but they had a pretty good lead over East Cleveland Shaw, which was 9th, and I would imagine if the Spartans do drop any, it would only be to that 9th position.
Yeah, the thing to watch with Cleveland Glenville, they're a very good football team, but they also play, I believe, in the Cleveland Senate League. All Division I schools, and those are all teams that they realistically should beat. So I think you need to look at Glenville. They're 5-1, probably finishing with a 9-1 record. They're going to continue to move up. So I think for Boardman's sake, they need to look at, if they're going to look over their shoulders, probably at Shaw, Berea, and at Ashtabula Lakeside.
Well, if you want to order a copy of tonight's game on VHS, all you have to do is call the station at 330-782-1144 during business hours, or log on to our websites for more information. It'll cost you $39.95 plus tax for a copy of tonight's game. Boardman gets the ball, and Zetz will throw it down the middle, looking for Finnemore, but he underthrows the intended receiver. Dan Klimas had coverage for the Raiders defensively.
Number 5, Steve Golden Jr.
Yep. Actually, that was Steve Golden Jr. who had coverage.
Right.
Number 5 for the Raiders.
Yeah, it looked like his ball slipped a little bit in his hand. It definitely came out a little wobbly there.
And their ball never got to Finnemore that time. Yeah, never got to Finnemore. Golden had coverage, however, that was pretty tight. I mean, that ball was going to have to put right on dime. 2nd down and 10. They go to the ground. Evan Beard able to get away from Jonte Stroud. 1st down yardage for Beard, still on his feet into Raider territory, and run out of bounds at Harding's 44-yard line. And Evan Beard still giving it all he's got. He'll get over 100 yards tonight. And Evan Beard will now get very close to that 800-yard rushing mark this season.
Yeah, I might see here, too, a nice block by the wide receiver right here. He just glanced just enough to give Evan that extra space. You know, you don't need your wide receivers to make pancake blocks, but just to get in the way pretty much more than anything, and that's what he did.
Gain of 24 by Beard. He has 130 yards rushing tonight on 17 carries. He's over 800 yards for the season now. Oh, first yard run. That's Brad Beck, and he's going to score. Touchdown Boardman. So Brad Beck on the carry off 1st down follows up a good run by Evan Beard. And the Spartans have their 3rd touchdown of the night.
Nice running. He's a nice-looking sophomore, and you can see, I mean, he was averaging about 7.5, 8 yards a carry. the last 2 weeks, and you can see why. He has a good idea what he's doing out there.
And how about this? Brad Beck now with that 44-yard carry has gone over 100 yards himself. He has 101 yards rushing tonight on 17 carries as well. So the tandem of Beard and Beck now, 34 carries combined, 231 yards. And
yeah, really. I mean, you take away this first quarter of this game, we got a ball game here,
right.
really.
The extra point attempt now by Andrew Good is once again good. 6:39 to go in the game. Boardman trailing 43-21. It's exactly what Ron said. It's that 22-point first quarter, which is the margin on the scoreboard. You're watching the high school football game of the week on Fox 1762. Here's a look at Boardman's most recent touchdown. Just a quick toss to Brad Beck. And we've talked about the sophomore most of the night. Good speed there, too.
Yeah, and he made 3 guys miss there for Warren Harding, and that's an accomplishment in itself.
I mean, he got by Travis Stanford, who earlier ran down Evan Beard. But it's a drive for Boardman, which covered 68 yards. They did it in 3 plays, and that was the 44-yard touchdown run that you saw by Beck, his second score of the night. Kickoff return by Rob Masucci. Gets around O'Day. Masucci can go. He's got great speed. He's into Boardman territory.
Yeah, very nice tackle.
Andrew Good, who made a touchdown-saving tackle last week against Massillon Jackson, did the same thing tonight. Masucci has 6 touchdowns this year. I mean, the kid has already taken back a couple of punts for scores. I mean, he has outstanding speed. Last week, though, got beat up. He got beat up against Fitch.
Yeah.
Now, there's Andrew Good, and you know, despite tonight's game being out of hand, he is still one of the finest kickers around, turning into one of the best tacklers.
You always love to see those kickers get a tackle, too. And then
I'll tell you what, in that come film session tomorrow Monday, he's not going to let anybody forget it either. They'll rewind that play 3 or 4 times.
Boy, and this was
tackle.
Almost a backbreaker. Just a matter of who was going to come up and make the hit.
Got his shoulders square.
Yeah.
Wrapped him up. Nice job.
Harding guys might have something to say to Rob Masucci.
That's
too,
right.
By getting tackled.
Tackled by a kicker.
By the kicker.
Raiders now have a 1st and 10 at the Boardman 43. Direct snap to Mike Cokel. Wants to run. And he's going to go down at the line of scrimmage. Possibly got a yard on the carry. Not much more than that. Raiders now facing a 2nd down situation. They just want the clock to run.
Yeah, it looks like we got an injured player for Harding here, too.
And that's going to be number 63 for the Raiders, Justin Pasio.
Justin's a starter, too.
So he is injured, and that has stopped the clock. 6:12 to go in the contest. Warren Harding leading 43-21. Raiders scored 22 straight points to begin the game. In fact, went into the locker room up 36-0. Here in the second half, though, a much different story. Boardman has outscored the Raiders 21-7. And I'm sure Coach McDaniels is not going to be happy about that.
Yeah, but on the flip side, you know, we talked earlier about something for Boardman to take positive out of this game, and I think that's something I'm sure what they will take positive out of this football game, and that is that they outplayed Warren Harding in the second half, and you're going to need that because you're going to face another team, another good football team. I don't think East Liverpool's as good as Warren Harding,
no,
in my opinion.
No.
But
they got some great speed too.
They're not number 1 in the state for no reason.
Days a week. Watch the weather team on First News at 10 on Fox 1762 and 27 First News, where your news comes first. So after the injured player taken off the field, the Raiders offense gets back to work. Right, not much running room there. Mike Cokel kept it on 1st down, kept it on 2nd down. That looked like the play from the movie The Longest Yard, where he had to run it from a yard out, and Burt Reynolds tried to reverse his field when 2 big guys were standing in his way. Cokel did the same thing.
Yeah, but that was in slow motion, though.
That's right. had music in the background, I think, didn't it? And all that crunching. I remember hearing all that crunching. Oh, there's the music. Very nice. Everybody's a comedian downstairs. 3rd and 11 now for the Raiders. Cokel will throw. Fires complete to Prescott Burgess. Unable to get away. The tackle made by Brian Weiser. And that will bring up a 4th down situation. Tonight, our program director, Mike Roscoe. Technical director, Bill Billette. Boardman graduate Mike Garland is our graphic artist tonight. Our camera guys, John Scalota and Rodney McNinch, doing a great job this evening, both upstairs and downstairs, bringing you the pictures of tonight's game.
On the punt for the Raiders, number 16.
That John Scalota up there, boy, I tell you what, that guy does a lot better job on the camera than he does on a golf course. I'm going to tell you that right now.
And you know he can't defend himself. That's what's beautiful about it. Punt straight up and down. Hank won't want to relive this one too many times. It will roll dead at the 30-yard line. For Hank, a punt of just 6 yards. So after hitting a 57-yarder in the first half, he comes up with a 6-yarder on this attempt. And now Boardman will begin 1st and 10 just beyond their own 30.
Well, I'll tell you, if Tom McDaniel was looking for something for film study this weekend,
Yeah.
he's going to have more to work with than he wanted to, because they've misfired quite a bit here in the second half.
I don't know if you guys just heard that or not, and when this game re-airs, most of us will already know Niles beat Howland tonight.
Wow.
14-0. So Dick Angle's perfect season with the Tigers is over, and that shows you what a rivalry can be.
Yeah. And boy, that's, that really said it. That, hey, I don't know what Poland did tonight, but boy, that was going to be a heck of a matchup next week. It still will be.
Still will. That is incredible. So Boardman trying to just get back on track offensively. Brad Beck, the ball carrier here. He's had a very good game, gone over the 100-yard rushing mark. And he only came in with 200 yards to his credit, so this is his best game of the season.
I think, and Boardman has showed us in the second half, when they're able to run the football, they're a much more effective team. Again, and Ron, you said it earlier, they're not looking for a guy like Tom Zetz, as talented as he is. They're not looking for him to win a game.
Right.
Just not make mistakes to put them in a bad field position or put the defense in a bad field position. They're still primarily a running team, but when you got guys like Updegrove and Villagrana that can catch the football, they can pass it when they want to. But if they have to, then that's when they get into trouble.
Evan Beard's carry took the ball ahead of the 45, so it is now 2nd down and 7 for the Spartans. They go back to the ground. Brad Beck, the ball carrier, takes it over the 50 into Raider territory. Nice solid run, very close to another 1st down. Several players there for the Raiders in on the stop, first of which was Jermaine Fowlis. And Beck is going to be stopped about a yard shy. So to bring up a 3rd down and short now for the Spartans in Raider territory. 3:12 to go in the game. Boardman behind 43-21. Zetz will give to Beard. 1st down yardage and more. Knocked down by Mike Phillips at around the 40. Gain good for almost 9 yards.
Well, Boardman's had some good success in his second half, just running a belly play, leading the halfback up front and putting Beard at the fullback position and he's been bouncing that outside. Doing a nice job of that in the second half.
So the Spartans come to the line of scrimmage. Ball now resting on the Raiders' 40-yard line. Out of the stacked eye, toss sweep, Brad Beck. Hit initially on the play by Raphael Struther. Beck able to turn it into a positive gain and add some more numbers.
Number 47, Brad Beck, the ball carrier.
Now, before we go any further, I think I'd be remiss if I didn't thank the Warren Harding boys and girls soccer boosters. Took care of our guys downstairs, fed them, didn't clothe them, but did feed them tonight. Very nice. Thank you. 2nd down and 8 now. Evan Beard again, loose down the sideline. And Evan Beard still trying to churn out a few more yards. He doesn't look any worse for wear than he did in the opening quarter. Of course, now he looks winded.
He looks a little tired there.
Boy, he is a nice kid.
Boy, and so much for resting him on. They got in this situation. I think they wanted to rest him a little bit on offense, but he's playing that middle linebacker position as well.
Well, what the coaches want to do and what the player is going to let him do are two different things. I'm sure he's, I saw a quote from last week's game in the first half of the Fitch game. They talked to Tom McDaniels and asked him, was Clarett bugging you to get in the game? He said no, but he was never more than 2 inches away from me the whole on the sideline the whole half. So, I'm sure they were probably, hey, we need a tailback, and there was Evan Beard running out there.
Brad Beck, the latest ball carrier for the Spartans. Beard tonight, 166 yards rushing. Beck complimented him very nicely. He's got 129 yards rushing. We're down to 1:10 to go. Boardman, I'm sure, would like nothing more than to poke one more in here. They've got a 2nd down and goal to go from the Harding 5. Give to Beard. He's gotten you down close, and he's going to get it in again. Touchdown, Boardman. So the Spartans' Evan Beard will go in for his 2nd rushing touchdown of the night. And Evan Beard now with 9 touchdowns on the ground this season. And oddly enough, Boardman, is going to come out of this, and the final score is going to look a lot more respectable than it was at halftime. But the 2 games they have now lost, they lost 47-27 to Ignatius, and now 43-27 could be the final here. Very similar scores, but I think we reached the outcome in much different manner.
Yeah, I think in the Ignatius game, they were in it really till the end there. In the 4th quarter, Ignatius kind of pulled away from them. But, yeah, again, and those are two pretty good football teams. If you're going to lose, I mean, really, it's to Harding and Ignatius.
I've heard of them.
Yeah.
Andrew Good's extra point is right there.
They won a state championship once or twice, I think.
Twice, I think.
Yeah.
Warren Harding's lead has now been trimmed to 15 points. It is 43-28 here in the 4th quarter. Keep in mind, next Friday night, our game of the week here on Fox 1762. Our first trip over into Western Pennsylvania. The big rivalry between Kennedy Catholic and Sharpsville. Usually those 2 teams meet twice a year, once in the regular season and again in the playoffs. That probably won't be the case this year. But still, a good game nonetheless. And after what happened between
Yeah, again, you're going back to those rival games as we look here at the touchdown, and like you said, Rob, anything can happen there. But I got a chance to see that Sharpsville program last year. And boy, they do a nice job out there. It's a smaller school, but their kids are well coached, and they get some decent-looking kids, and they play real hard. No, I didn't coach there, Rob.
There's Boardman's scoring drive. This time they needed 8 plays to cover 70 yards. It was Evan Beard going in from the final few yards out. Andrew Good with the extra point. Fans still here hanging around, aren't they? Ball kicked out of bounds.
I think he was calling for an onside kick there.
So Warren Harding will get the ball at their own 35. They've got less than a minute to burn off the clock here. And they will go to 7-0 and clinch at least a share of the Steel Valley Conference Championship this year. They'll move to 3-0 in the loop. Boardman will drop to 6-2 or actually 5-2. Spartans will now suffer their first loss in the conference. And they still have Ursuline and Fitch on the schedule, so they'll be 1-1 in the loop.
I don't want to say anything wrong, but that's Rob's family.
That's right, no soup for you. I didn't get any soup tonight, did I, from the boosters?
No, those guys ordered all that stuff downstairs, I think.
Dave Herron, that time the ball carrier for Warren Harding. If you want to get your local news first, you can do so with Gina Marinelli a full hour before the rest. Watch First News at 10 on Fox 1762. Half-minute left in the game.
And so much for resting Maurice Clarett's injured groin. He's still in there with 25 seconds left to go.
And we've got to pick a player of the game tonight. I know it's a tough choice, but somebody's got to do it. 2nd down and 9 from about the 36. Give to Clarett, hit in the backfield, able to bounce ahead for a pickup of 2. And that's going to be the final play of the game. And it is over. Warren Harding has claimed at least a share of the Steel Valley Conference Championship here in 2001. The final score this evening, it is Warren Harding 43, Boardman 28. Stay tuned. We'll award our Vindicator Player of the Game and put the finishing touches on this one tonight. You're watching the high school football game of the week on Fox 1762. There's a look at our Vindicator Player of the Game. It is Maurice Clarett. He won it earlier in the season against Ursuline. He's our first two-time winner this season, but you can't argue with the kid's numbers. He rushed 17 times for 197 yards, caught 4 passes for 76 yards, and he had 5 touchdowns tonight. Clarett did it all, and he played the entire game despite that sore groin. But yet Maurice Clarett is the real deal at 6 feet even, 231 pounds, and a senior.
You know, they really did some different things to showcase Maurice Clarett tonight, too. You know, normally he's lining up and dotting the I in the backfield for them, and they split him out a few times and threw him the football quite a lot tonight. Even, you know, the ones he didn't catch for touchdowns, he had a few more catches on the night, too, and just adds to his credibility again.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like we said earlier, it's not like they're running, you know, flea flickers to get him the ball. I mean, that touchdown we just showed was just a simple toss play, and got good blocking up front. And once he got hit a seam, you know, he was gone. And you know, every time we see him, you think, well, the next time, you know, he can't possibly be as good as he was the last time we saw him, but maybe it was a little bit better tonight.